within the Quran, what are the messages of God? What are the morals that He imposes?
Would I ever shoot the shot? I can't take a shot until I ask my commander. I believe God exists because I was on this drug. They see like a woman or something, and it comes to them in the form of this thing that's pretty common.
I've done mushrooms, and you feel like you see the truth. Within both of us have an element of us is God. The Big Bang has expanded, and everything's constantly expanding. I think a lot of things are created and then often die off.
Something cannot come from nothing. Never once in the Bible does Jesus say, I am God.
The essence of you is God.
Man, if you look at a baby's face, bury their daughters alive. He's put the belief of human beings to naturally have the inclination to believe in a creator.
Let's go.
No. Sorry. We don't want to be on the video. So, basically, like everything that exists has a purpose. Would you agree?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, you can't. Okay. It's hard to just claim that.
Can you name me one thing that exists that doesn't have a purpose?
Probably not. I mean, I think often. Often things are dying and going into extinction if they don't, if they don't function. I'd say that, but it's just to say that there's purpose first and then creation. I think it's hard to claim that.
Okay. So look, let's say like I'm not talking about creation from the beginning. Okay. So I'm talking about, let's say, if you hear a sound, would you wanna? Obviously, you wanna look where that sound came from. Yeah. Like you wouldn't think that sound all of a sudden just out of the blue came about, and then that's it. Obviously, it had a source.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So like same thing like with a tram. Okay. So a tram, it's here. Would you ever look at a tram and see, okay, this is just there, serves no purpose? Would you make that conclusion?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay. Your socks, do they serve a purpose?
Yeah.
Okay, so all of these serve a purpose. So if all of these serve a purpose, then you must serve a purpose as well. Okay?
I'd say what survives serves a purpose. I wouldn't say necessarily what is created serves a purpose. I think a lot of things are created and then often die off.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But what does that not mean that they don't have a purpose? Like what's the evidence that they wouldn't have a purpose? Like
purpose. I mean.
So here's the thing, yeah? You're living today, one day you're gonna die. What's gonna happen after you die?
I have no idea.
Okay, you think something's gonna happen, or
No, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. So do you believe that God exists, or you don't?
Well, I have my own different beliefs.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just asking what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it's in everything. I think you and I both, within both of us, have an element of us is God. I think there's one thing that's connecting everyone.
Okay, so we say, okay, this is the Islamic perspective, is that something cannot come from nothing. Okay, so given that something cannot come from nothing, like 0 plus 0, 0. What's 0 times 0? Multiply nothing by nothing, still nothing. Yeah. So if that's the case, then obviously, okay, the universe had a beginning. You agree with me?
Not necessarily. I mean, if 0 times 0 equals 0, then like if you can't, you got to start from somewhere. I think it's more logical to say that it's always been.
Always been. Perfect. No problem. So, always been. Okay, but you believe in eternality of something, and you would rather believe in that than believe that a creator of intelligence, wisdom brought this earth together. Which one makes more sense? That it always existed and that's it, or that we can see that today we can see the order of the universe, we can see that the sun, distance between the sun and the earth is alone something to show you perfection in the universe, that it wouldn't and we know quite in fact that the Big Bang happened, and before the Big Bang the laws of physics that we are upon today did not apply. So if you actually look at the Big Bang, what's before the Big Bang, the laws wouldn't apply today. So we know that something happened that changed everything after the Big Bang, and the Big Bang is chaos, isn't it?
The Big Bang is chaos.
Yeah, it's like organized chaos. When you say like it's a Big Bang, you know.
No, I think it could. You could say it's deterministic. It's causal, like something it just started and then everything's been a flow and effect since. Maybe it can be seen as chaos, but you know, from a wider shot, it seems more orderly.
Sure. Look, if I am, let me go by your logic as well. Okay. So if I am, now we're going to a different point. So we're going to something came from something to something to something to something. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm willing to. So, can I tell you what I believe?
Yeah. I'm just trying to understand. Like honestly, yeah. Like we'll just get to a point, obviously, where we, you know, agree on a few things, and then we'll come to like a conclusion and how it would tie into what we believe. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, you've heard of Darwin's theory of evolution?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we share common ancestors with different...
We're talking about the universe though.
Yeah, I'm getting there. And so if you imagine there's a timeline where there's, say, chimps here, humans here, and then at some point there was a common ancestor. And you can keep going, say there was just like marsupials, and then there's fish, and there's even trees, and it just keeps going, right? And the idea is that the Big Bang has expanded and everything's constantly expanding.
Okay.
At some point it all comes back to one thing, which was the Big Bang. The point of the singularity.
Okay.
Correct? I think.
And where does the Big Bang come from?
No, I don't know, and that's what I don't know. Okay, but I'm willing to say that God is eternal.
Okay,
but then I'm also
amazing.
willing to say,
let me shake your hand on that.
all right, sure. But I'm also willing to say that if it was eternal and everything has come from the Big Bang, then God is within everyone and everything.
Okay, again, that's a different point. We'll go to it. Okay.
But that's what I'm.
Okay, so first thing is, let me just talk about the why it's impossible for thing to come from something, to come from something, to come from something, to get to us. Because if let's say I was a soldier, yeah, and I had to, there's someone in a different army killing kids in my country, okay, and I have to, I'm looking at him, he's just literally down I'm looking at him, just pointed towards, I can see him, yeah, but I can't take a shot until I ask my commander, and my commander has to ask his commander. So he can't tell me yes, he has to ask his commander, and then his commander has to ask his commander. Okay, so if that keeps going, would I ever shoot the shot?
It has to end somewhere. I understand what you're saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So it has to end somewhere that someone says, yes, you can shoot the shot. So we say that beginning is the creator, that something had to start it. Just cannot be an infinite regress of causes. Yeah? It just cannot be. Logically, it cannot be. You know, like...
Okay, well, here's what I'd say was different is you don't always have to, because people, you don't just ask others for permission to do things and
No photos, no photo. Yeah.
You don't just ask permission to do things.
Oh, so we're surprised. Today's the first time we brought the camera, man. People are acting crazy over here. But yeah, go on.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you do, but often you'll look within and you'll trust your conscience to try and guide your actions. And I honestly think that conscience within you is God.
Okay. Perfect. Now that's a funny point you bring on. So now we are talking about, so we've moved away from the infinite regress. So you said that your eternal belief, so funny enough, there are studies that they bring kids from different countries. You can look this up, there's a few studies on this actually. And they brought kids from different countries without a religious bias, yeah? And they asked them if they would tend to believe of a supernatural power, of a creator. And the consensus of the studies was that children with no bias of religion actually tend to believe of a creator. One creator that exists. We don't say it exists within us. We tend to be born with the belief that the creator exists because the creator has already put this in us. Yeah?
He's already put what within you?
He's put the belief of human beings to naturally have the inclination to believe in a creator. Okay? So that's statistically proven. It's statistically proven that people are born with the inclination to worship God. Now, you wouldn't be born with the just inclination to believe in more than one God. Studies have shown that actually they look for one creator, it's not more than one. cannot be more than one. Yeah, like you can't have more than one all-powerful being. Yeah, you agree with me? Like,
Well, I agree that you're telling me this. I don't know necessarily. I haven't read this.
okay, I want you to think about this. So, let's say, okay, someone like I have two fingers, yeah. So this finger is different than this finger. Why? Because they occupy different space. Obviously, other than they're on a different hand, whatever. Let's say two objects, yeah, same object, same thing, same factory to the millimeter, yeah. Why the difference? They occupy different space and different space. Same time, I'm holding them both at the same time. Different space. That's the only reason they're different, yeah? This is my friend Max.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was another show.
Nah, it's alright. No.
I'm like,
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So, like, if we say two objects, the difference is that they occupy different space. So let's think about God. So if there was more than one God, more than one all-powerful being, there would ultimately be corruption. Why? Because if each God is all-powerful, each God has his own desire. If each God's desire will be fulfilled, because he's God, if his desire won't be fulfilled, then he's not God, there would be chaos, naturally. Yeah, even if you think about countries or companies, yeah, like usually you have one CEO, usually have one president, usually have, you know? Why? Because there would be chaos. Okay, so do you agree with me in this point that naturally it's more logical to say that there's one God and not more than one God, because of the implications that more than God one God would have, and the attributes of God himself, what we as human beings can think of a supernatural creator. Do you agree with me?
Not necessarily. I think that our perceptions are guided by what sustains us.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that is what helps us to survive, we will just continue to do. Correct? And so then if you look throughout history, there's just been so many different religions that have continued to survive with different ideologies or different beliefs.
Sure.
So I'm not certain that you could say that, well, only one idea works. Right?
So, okay, so are we talking about works in terms of society? Or we're talking about works in terms of the reality of there's more than one God or there isn't more than one God in reality, in actual reality, like as the world as it exists today?
Yeah. I'd say there's one.
Okay, that's okay, perfect.
And it's filtered, yeah.
Okay, so look, when we talk about the different religions, I'll just explain again, this is something Islamic. You have to understand about Islam, what a Muslim believes about specifically Christianity and Judaism and whatever, is we as Muslims actually believe that Abraham, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, all the prophets that came before were actually Muslim. Is that shocking to you?
Yeah, it is. I don't believe that. And just because...
No, I can explain why. I can explain why.
Tell me why.
Okay.
What's the definition of Muslim?
So definition of Muslim is someone that submits his will to God.
Sure.
Okay. Now, strictly by that definition, we can say Jesus is Muslim in the Bible. But to go on even further from that, is that Jesus himself in the Bible never claims divinity. So if we go through the whole Bible, never once in the Bible does Jesus say, I am God, or where he says, worship me. Never ever does it exist in the Bible. We have the Bible, I can show you. It never exists in the Bible.
Sure.
Okay, I can show you. Yeah, I can show you.
It's a big book.
Yeah.
It would take a while.
these idols and images never tell you.
Can you show me where it was?
So, does God know everything?
No, I don't think that's necessarily true, honestly.
No, hang on. God doesn't know everything?
Not necessarily true, I don't think so. Hello.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Does God know everything?
No, honestly, I don't think so.
Sorry. How don't you think so?
I believe that there's a separate landscape so I think there could be God, which is everything. There's a separate landscape on which he is situated.
Okay, so he's in the heaven, in the sky. Is that what you mean, or because God's
imagine there's like a tree, right? And the tree, let's say the tree is God, and then this is what I think, and then say it's branching out and it's into different types of form so like say.
So God can be divisible according to you.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, we already said So God cannot be divisible, because if God was divisible, then there would be, you know, that same God wouldn't act in different ways. It wouldn't. It's God would not be self-sufficient.
So here's what I think. I think it's
Well, when did you become?
No, but tell me, how can God be divisible? Like,
it's within you. So I'm saying it's like the conscience within you.
okay,
So I'm saying there's the essence of you is God. And then with
why isn't the soul? Why isn't the soul? Why isn't it the soul? Doesn't it make more logical sense that you have a soul? All human beings have a soul. That soul, it's basically your consciousness. You know that we as human beings, the only species on earth that don't act based on desire. Yeah. So it's your soul. It's actually not God inside of you, because
I don't understand what you mean by the soul. I think
your soul. Okay, soul. Your soul. Basically, the science cannot explain why we have consciousness. They cannot explain it. Religion can. They say, oh, you have your soul. They don't say because you have your God inside of you. No religion says that, really.
I don't know. But
Okay,
have
but
you ever done have you ever done mushrooms?
is that what you base your belief on?
I've done mushrooms, and you feel
Okay.
like you see the truth.
So look, first of all, with psychedelics, all people see the same thing, pretty much similar. So most people see a similar thing.
What have you heard they see?
So I've heard like they see like I don't want to talk about the specifics here, it's not really relevant, but I've heard that they see like a woman or something, and it comes to them in the form of this thing that's pretty common.
Well, that's what I saw. But
Okay.
maybe. If you've heard that, you've heard that.
Depending on how much you talk and obviously, but really, like if you like statistically, and even if you look online, they see similar things. It's not that I'm claiming that, they actually see similar things. So if you coming here to tell me that I believe God exists because I was on this drug that would take me or just alter my brain, then that's not the way you should look at the reality of why God exists. And it's actually, you know, because look, if here's the thing, yeah, Islam, which is the only religion that's monotheistic, and you agree with me that, you know, there's
It's the only religion that's monotheistic.
of course.
Okay.
Jesus is God in Christianity, and the Father is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. 3 in 1. Can it be 3 in 1?
Okay, so this is if, according to this theory, it can work. And I know it sounds.
So are you a Christian? Are you a Christian?
I don't understand.
Like you believe in Christianity mainly more than Islam, or you're leaning towards Christianity?
I mean, I think it serves a function. It's more functional to the Western society, just because of historically. That's where what history.
I disagree with you. But okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let me tell you why. Because I just want you to look this up when you go home. Look up how the influence of Islam had, what the influence of Islam had on how Western women are treated. You can go look this up. Look up before Islam, how women were treated in the West.
That's in my brother. I'm just gonna make sure he doesn't leave.
Yeah. So look, I just want to show you something.
Follow this pillar.
So look, listen, God has all attributes of wisdom and knowledge. If you say God exists, then it must be that way, really, because it's impossible for it not to be that way, given how we are, you know, the universe is perfect, the order in the universe, you know, it's impossible for God not to be all wise, all knowledgeable. It's literally impossible, or we wouldn't have this perfect world that exists today. So the evidence that what you see here, not when you're on mushrooms, when you see here, is the actual evidence that God exists and that God has these attributes. Yeah? What do you think about this? It's like, okay, so the universe is perfect, means God is perfect. Yeah? The universe shows evidence of, like if your phone.
Who's to say it's perfect?
So can you tell me one thing about the universe or the stars or whatever that's not perfect?
The experience of pain.
Okay. Now here's the thing. So pain, or even let's talk about the mercy of God. So God's very merciful. Like if God willed, every time you would have a bite of food, you would feel pain. Couldn't it happen? It could happen.
It's possible, but you probably wouldn't bite this food as much.
Yeah.
Find a different solution.
Maybe.
So here's remember I said I believe it's on a separate environment? Remember when I said there's God, but there's also a separate environment which he just inhabits. He exists in a different environment. I believe that is pain. I know it sounds extreme and it's an abstract concept, but I believe...
You believe pain is God?
No.
What?
I believe pain is separate from God. And God, which is all of us, within all of us, and within everything that has ever existed, is continually
Okay.
trying to...
But see, here's the problem.
overcome pain.
Okay, look, here's the problem. Even if you tell me that on mushrooms, each of you, everyone that took mushrooms saw a different experience, and then because of that, they would judge who God is, everyone would have a different God, and the truth would be completely vanished. No one would know the exact truth. Number one. Number two,
You have to trust yourself.
you have to trust yourself. So you only believe in what you believe because you trust yourself. What if you're wrong? What if you're wrong?
So are you.
No, because I look at the Quran, I have evidence that the Quran is from God.
You look at the Quran. You trust the Quran.
No, I don't trust the Quran because I just trust the Quran because what I believe. I trust the Quran because of the evidence the Quran puts out. Because of the evidence.
But you have to make the decision to trust it.
Okay, have you ever looked at the evidence as to why the Quran is from God? Have you ever looked at what the Quran is? Have you ever read the Quran? Have you ever... Okay, I'll give you a brief rundown. That's a good thing to do. Because you should know this. Let me tell you why. Because we as Muslims, this is our claim, we the only religion that have a preserved text. So our religious text has been preserved, has never been altered. Never been changed. There's no contradiction in our text. All other religions have contradictions in their own text. Okay?
Sure.
Whereas,
But tell me about the Quran. What's going on in the Quran?
So the Quran is basically, we believe, is the word of God. Okay? So it
was given. It was
given to Prophet
revealed
Muhammad.
to
Prophet Muhammad, yeah. So how Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu, I'll say alayhi salatu means peace and blessings be upon him. Okay? So how Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, got the Quran. First of all, let's talk about who was he before he got revelation. So in the community of Arabs, they were pagan at the time. He never worshipped an idol or a statue. So he was known as the truthful and the trustworthy among his community. So even before he got revelation, and this is something that can be proven after he got a revelation, which they still trusted him with like things like their belongings. Like when they would travel, they would keep their belongings with Prophet Muhammad. Even after he claimed to be a prophet, they still believed that he was a truthful and trustworthy, and they would leave their belongings with him. Okay, so I'll also just mention a bit what used to happen before Islam. Before Islam came, these pagan Arabs, they used to bury their daughters alive. Because they used to. So the Quran came down. It says, "Don't kill your children fearing poverty," for example. That's one thing. So, okay. So this is basically just to put a picture for you, paint a picture. Yeah, is how the community was before Islam came, and how it became. So how the pagan Arabs were. Like imagine how was it, like, man, if you look at a baby's face, yeah, like you wouldn't like. You'd melt, yeah. Like you wouldn't think like it's not normal. Yeah, it's not normal, yeah. So yeah. So here's the thing. So the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, who was known as truthful and trustworthy among his community. He was sitting in a cave. He would sit down in a cave that's high up where he can see a few different parts of Mecca, and he would just ponder about the creation of God. And the Quran was revealed, ordering Prophet Muhammad he was told to read. And he said, I'm not learned. He was told to read. He said, I'm not learned. He said, I'm not a learned man. Okay. So that's the first revelation came to Prophet Muhammad. He didn't know what exactly happened, what it was. He was actually scared. And then he went back to his wife. And then she told him, you feed the poor. You're always, you have strong kinship with your family, whatever. God would not harm you. Okay, so she said she believed in him. Whatever he said, she believed in him. That this must be something good. It's not something bad. Don't be afraid. She assured him. And then second time he was actually told that he's a prophet from God. And what he claimed is, that you're a prophet of God. I'm an angel sent from God, Angel Gabriel. Okay. So that's the thing. Like that's how revelation came to Prophet Muhammad. Okay. So now I'm claiming that Prophet Muhammad is a messenger from God. Okay. He came down with the Quran. So how can I prove that the Quran is the literal word of God? Let's do it. Where's the Quran?
What happened? Like what? You said you gave me a rundown of the Quran. What are some messages that are from the Quran?
We do have a Quran. Can you find me one?
We don't have any Qurans.
Ah, we ran out.
If you come at the State Library in about 5-10 minutes, we're going to be there and we'll have Qurans. You know, at the State Library. We'll be there in about 10 minutes if you want to come. We're about to pack up here and we're about to move up there.
I'm tied to him, so...
Yeah, easy. Okay. So, look, we're in the city till 6 p.m. Just come by, grab one, leave. That's it. It's just next to the State Library. If you're free.
Could you give me a rundown? Like, if you could say the essence of the Quran.
Okay, so the Quran basically calls to... Main thing, there's many obviously lessons from the Quran. It's a book of guidance. Main thing is call you to worship one God and worship Him alone. To not associate any partners with God, and to believe that Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of God among as well with the previous prophets as well.
Then what? Okay, and then within the Quran, what is God? What are the messages of God? What are the morals that He imposes, or tells you to? Does He tell you to live by any morals?
Of course,
obviously.
Yeah, but we don't have like this thing like with Christianity. You've got the 10 Commandments, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you could surmise or try and infer, like, what are the main points?
Okay, I'll show you. So,
or just any of them, even if it's not.
Okay. Okay. So these are different parts. I'm looking for 29, the first chapter. Okay, there it is. 28.
Is there any Quran here?
Yep, there it is. So, when we say Allah, who's Allah first, yeah? So you hear these Muslims say Allah, what does that mean? Okay, Allah means the true God, and it's in its Arabic, Allah, I cannot put the rules of plural on this word.
It's done.
Yeah, okay.
So it's actually impossible for me to make Allah in plural form. Like God, you can say gods. Yeah? So I prefer using Allah. Why? Because it cannot be made plural. It's one.
And God can make gods.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it can be made God, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a Greek word as well. Gods, it's a Greek word that, you know, obviously like people use different religions, whatever.
What was the language the Quran?
So the Quran was revealed in Arabic, but funnily enough, the Quran is actually the book which translated to the most amount of languages in the world.
Sure.
So it actually holds that record as the book translated to the most amount of languages in the world.
Sure.
Okay. So He is the one, Allah, who created death and life in order to test which of you is best in deeds. He is exalted in might and forgiving. Who created 7 heavens in layers, you do not see the creation most merciful, any inconsistency. So return your visions to the sky. Do you see any breaks, any inconsistencies in the creation? And return your vision twice. Again, your wisdom will return to you humbled while it is fatigued. So I'll show you.
That's all. Like I like that. It's a lot of what you've read me, what you've told me before. A lot of it's enforcing that Allah is powerful. Allah is the one true God. Muhammad was a prophet. Are there any things where it's like, just quickly, like what's something like I could take practically in my day?
Treat your parents well.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Pleasure. This has been good time.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go.